everyone, I'm Miss Lisa, and our story time today is going to be about moose. And our first story is If You Give a Moose a Muffin by Laura Numeroff. If you give a moose a muffin, he'll want some jam to go with it. So you'll bring out some of your mother's homemade blackberry jam. When he's finished eating the muffin, he'll want another, and another, and another. When they're all gone, he'll ask you to make more. You'll have to go to the store to get some muffin mix. He'll want to go with you. When he opens the door and feels how chilly it is, he'll ask to borrow a sweater. When he puts the sweater on, he'll notice one of the buttons is loose. He'll ask you for a needle and thread. He'll start sewing. The button will remind him of the puppets his grandmother used to make. So he'll ask for some old socks. He'll make some sock puppets. When they're done, he'll want to put on a puppet show. He'll need some cardboard and paints. Then he'll ask you to help make the scenery. When the scenery is finished, he'll get behind the couch, but his antlers will stick out, so he'll ask for something to cover them up, and you'll bring him a sheet from your bed. When he sees the sheet, he'll remember he wants to be a ghost for Halloween, and he'll try it on and shout, "Boo!" It'll scare him so much, he'll knock over the paints. So he'll use the sheet to clean up the mess, and then he'll ask for some soap to wash it out. He'll probably want to hang the sheet up to dry. He'll go outside to put it on the clothesline. When he's out in the yard, he'll see your mother's blackberry bushes. Seeing the blackberries will remind him of her jam. He'll probably ask you for some. And chances are, if you give him the jam, he'll want a muffin to go with it. Look who I have here. It's Mr. Moose. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. You know what? I could eat some muffins. 5 big muffins on the windowsill. A moose came along and ate his fill. How many muffins on the windowsill? 4 big muffins on the windowsill. A moose came along and ate his fill. How many muffins on the windowsill? 3 big muffins on the windowsill. A moose came along and ate his fill. How many muffins on the windowsill? 2 big muffins on the windowsill. A moose came along and ate his fill. How many muffins on the windowsill? 1 big muffin on the windowsill. A moose came along and ate his fill. How many muffins on the windowsill? No more muffins on the windowsill. I ate them all. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1, the mouse ran down. Whee! Hickory dickory dock. Hickory dickory dock, the moose ran up the clock. The clock struck 2, the moose crashed down. Boom! Hickory dickory dock. The next story I'm going to read is called Up the Creek by Nicholas Oldland. There once was a bear, a moose, and a beaver who were the best of friends, though they often disagreed. One sunny day, the bear, the moose, and the beaver decided to go canoeing. The moose wanted to steer, but so did the bear and the beaver. They all sat in the stern. With so much weight in the back of the canoe, it flipped and they ended up in the water. So they played eeny, meeny, miny, moe, and it was decided that the moose would steer. They all settled back into the canoe and began to paddle. The bear insisted on paddling port side, but the beaver and the moose also preferred the left. With everyone paddling on the same side, they traveled in circles. Soon their arms grew tired, so they began to switch sides. That's when they finally started to travel in a straight line. But just as they began to make progress, they came to a stop at a beaver dam. They all had different ideas as to how to get across. The beaver wanted to push the canoe, but that didn't work. The moose thought they should pull the canoe. That didn't work either. Fortunately, the bear figured it out. The only way across was to portage. Back in the water, the bear, the moose, and the beaver settled into a rhythm and started to really enjoy paddling along the river. But it wasn't long before they began to argue. They argued so loudly they didn't notice the current growing stronger on the quiet rumbling in the distance. Until it was too late. The river had turned into white water rapids. Ah! Thrown sideways, underwater, through the air, and everywhere, the bear, the moose, and the beaver held on for their lives. Exhausted, bruised, and wet, the three friends landed on a rock in the middle of the rapids. The moose wanted to burn the canoe to make a signal fire. The bear wanted to throw the beaver to shore to help. The beaver figured swimming to shore would be safer. They argued over whose plan was best well into the night. The next morning it dawned on the bear, the moose, and the beaver that they would have to work together to make it home safely. So they climbed back into their battered canoe, took a deep breath, and ran to the rapids. They twisted, leaped, crashed, and blasted through the water. The rapids were fierce, but the bear's powerful strokes, the moose's steady hoof, and the beaver's clever commands, they set a true, clear course. At last, the bear, the moose, and the beaver made it to shore. After a much-needed nap, the bear, the moose, and the beaver worked together to repair the canoe and paddles, catch some fish, and cook lunch. Before they tucked into their meal, they all gave thanks for the wildest adventure they had ever had. Rested and relaxed, the bear, the moose, and the beaver were ready to set out for home. After taking a long look at the raging rapids, they decided to walk. And who could disagree with that? My little moose is funny and brown. He jumps quickly up and flops back down. He bends to the left. He bends to the right. Then my funny little moose walks out of sight. To end story time, we're going to do the Moosie Pokey. Get ready. You put your right hoof in, you put your right hoof out, you put your right hoof in, and you shake it all about. You do the Moosie Pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left hoof in, you put your left hoof out, you put your left hoof in, and you shake it all about. You do the Moosie Pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your antlers in, you put your antlers out, put your antlers in, and you shake them all about. You do the Moosie Pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your whole self in, you take your whole self out, you put your whole self in, and you shake it all about. You do the Moosie Pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Yay! Bye, everybody. Bye.